Hello everybody, welcome back to another episode of the wonderful world of Illuna. And I just realized I had that turned on, which we don't want turned on, so I'll turn it off. So, as you may have already noticed, this is not glorious 256 by 1440, as I had mentioned in the previous video that I wanted to try out. Yeah, so turns out, super fun story, so let's have story time. So I purchased for this past Black Friday a whole slew of things, different things, and a lot of it actually hasn't shown up yet. But a few things did, and the monitors were one of them. So I was all excited. I got home from work, and there were these two massive, gigantic boxes sitting on my porch. And they were the monitor boxes. Because we're talking about, I want to say these things are 34 inches. They're huge. I kind of had to redo my computer desk to make them actually fit in a way that made them usable. But more on that later. So, I got my monitors, and I was like, yes, I'm going to go plug these things in. No, wait, actually, I got the monitors, and I got a new graphics card. Because I knew my old graphics card was not going to support the resolution. I used to have a NVIDIA GeForce 660 Ti. And that was, I don't know, 5 years old maybe? I'm really not sure. It was kind of on the older side, but I mean, it still performed just fine for running the two monitors that I was running. Because I had one that was a 1080, and then one that was, I think, 1024 by something. I forget what. So I was like, yes, I'm going to go install the new graphics card, plug these new monitors in, and I am going to be impressed. So I open up the side panel on my computer case and take out the, well, I shut it down first, of course. Take out the old graphics card, go to put the new graphics card in after marveling at the larger form factor, only to discover the new graphics card does not fit in my case. Of course, that's not a good thing. Because if the card does not fit inside of the case, you pretty much can't use the card unless you get a new case. Or I suppose I could have modded the case. But fortunately, I, being the pack rat that I am, never throw anything away. So I had a few spare computer cases. And when I say a few spare, I actually took the case for my server, because it's like 1 inch longer, and it was big enough to fit the new graphics card. The old case wasn't. So I powered down my home server, which not a big deal. It's pretty much just a file server. It also runs my home automation software, but you know what? I can live without that for, you know, half an hour or something. No big deal, right? So I pull the server out of the server closet, take the side panel off there, start disassembling it. I get everything pulled apart in the server case. So now I have an empty case and a whole bunch of components, and we're talking like a half dozen hard drives, a bunch of RAM. There's really no cards for that. Take apart the desktop case. We're looking at 3 hard drives, a whole bunch of RAM, several PCIe cards, and everything's going, you know, pretty okay. No big major issues or anything. Get everything put back together. And, you know, at this point, I'm feeling pretty good. Well, aside from the fact that it's like, oh, I don't know, 11 o'clock p.m. already, and I was expecting to just be pulling a graphics card out of the case and throwing a new one in. So I was like, okay, this is taking a little longer than I want, but I've already invested enough time that I really want to get this finished. So, you know, we're going to keep at it till it's done. So get the server rebuilt. I could have lived without putting the server back together till the morning, because overnight, obviously I'm not accessing files from it. It's not really running anything with home automation. And there's an app on my phone that connects to the hub that all my smart devices are connected to, so I can control everything through that app. So it's really not a huge deal. But I'm like, you know what? We're going to get the server case thrown back together just because it's the right thing to do. So I do that and shove it in the server closet. Try to turn it on. It refuses to boot. Okay, what could I have possibly done? You know, everything stayed the exact same. None of the components changed. Didn't change any configurations. I mean, literally the only thing that's different is it's sitting inside of a different case. So I'm like, oh well, whatever. I'll deal with that later. So I get my desktop put back together. Try to turn it on. Nothing. It refuses to boot. I'm like, okay, this is not making any sense. Again, I changed nothing other than the case it's sitting in. Why is this not working? So I spend several minutes trying to figure out why is it not booting. And I go into the boot menu and go through the different boot disks. For some reason, I'm guessing I must have plugged the hard drive data cable into a different port on the motherboard. It's trying to boot from the wrong disk. So I manually tell it the correct disk to boot from. After trying both of the incorrect disks, because of course I don't know which disk is supposed to be the boot disk. They're not named like boot disk, they're just strings of letters, and I don't know what they mean, and I'm not sure. They're all different capacities, so if I knew which capacity was the boot disk, I could have pretty much done it instantly. But of course I didn't know that. So I go through all of my options, and I finally get the desktop to boot. Alright, good stuff, good stuff. So at this point, it's like midnight. And I'm like, well, you know, I kind of just want to go to sleep because it's pretty late. And at this point, I had one monitor taken out of the box and put together, which is how I was, you know, doing stuff on my computer to get it to boot, because without a screen, it's kind of difficult to see your menus and stuff. I'm like, you know, whatever, I'm just going to deal with this in the morning. So next morning, I open up the other display box and get the second monitor hooked up, and everything's working pretty good on the desktop. No issues. I did a little benchmarking, and the new graphics card for a test render in Blender was about 3 times as fast, or I guess a third as long. The old graphics card took like almost 16 minutes to render this scene. New graphics card did it in, I think, like 5.5. So, all right, good stuff, good stuff. Go to get the server booted up, and I don't know what happened. The boot disk was failing for a while, so it evidently decided that migrating from one case to another was the last straw and died. So I had to install the OS on a new boot disk, which fortunately I have, you know, a handful of hard drives sitting around, so no big deal. And actually, very surprisingly, most everything just worked. I mean, I had to reinstall a couple plugins and updates, but all of the files and directories all still existed, so I didn't lose anything. It was just a minor setback. Had to do a little extra work to get it up and running again, but not a huge deal. So with that fixed, and I could have done the, you know, recording test without it fixed, but I kind of wanted to get that done first because that is kind of important. You know, I like my lights to be on when I get home at night after work. So I turn on Mind Test and open up my screen recording software and change the settings in there. So we're dealing with a 256 by 1440 canvas rather than 1920 by 1080. And I try to record, and it actually recorded without any real problems. Well, kind of. It recorded, and from what I saw when I watched the video, it actually looked okay. But OBS was giving me a bunch of errors about the recording stream. What was it saying? Something that it was using too much processing power, or there wasn't enough available processing power to record at that resolution, which I guess shouldn't really surprise me because I didn't get a new CPU, and the CPU is just as old as the GPU was because they were both bought at the same time. I mean, it's a decent CPU, but it's definitely nothing that's top of the line anymore. Back in the day, it pretty much was. So, yes. All of this to say, I did record a little bit in 256 by 1440, but OBS was throwing a bunch of errors at me, so I'm assuming it would not be a good idea to try to record a, long chunk of video at that size. And I don't know if anything would actually be able to edit it. I didn't try editing the clip I recorded, but I'm not sure if anything could edit it. Because, or even once it was edited, I don't know if I could export it out. Because evidently that's too much data throughput. And the processor just couldn't process it fast enough. And I already have it set pretty much to... Oh no, I wasn't paying any attention to my shovel and it just broke it. It was a diamond shovel. Good thing it only cost 1 diamond. But anyways, yeah, so I tried that and it didn't work. So sorry everybody, but we are going to continue in only 1080p high resolution. This also means tutorial videos will only be in 1080. Which honestly is actually probably better, because otherwise everybody watching it on less than a 2K display would get it downscaled and then everything would just be blurry and they probably wouldn't be able to make out like the text and stuff. So, it is what it is. But my friends, I am really digging these new monitors. They're Samsung something and other. I have no idea what they were. WQHD, they were quite a bit of money, more than I really wanted to spend, but I've been wanting to upgrade my monitors for nearly a year because the two monitors I had were both different resolutions, which did some funky stuff with windows not lining up right from one screen to the other, and they were both different colors, which was really annoying when I was doing any kind of graphic stuff. And when I say graphic, I mean like image editing and stuff, not like blood and gore graphic. Though I imagine it would be bad for that too, because both screens would be different shades, and it was annoying. So I really like these new screens. They are super nice. Well, except for that the power indicator light constantly blinks when they're turned off. Or I guess they're not really turned off. So when the computer, to power save turns the screens off, they go black, and the monitors just blink the power light then, and I can't find a way to turn it off, and it's really annoying. I mean, it's not like super bright or anything, but it's just like, why? And there's an option for it. You can have the LED solid on when it's running or when it's in standby mode. But no matter what you do, it always blinks when the computer stops sending data to the display and tells the display to shut off. It doesn't actually shut off. I don't understand why. It's annoying. It's dumb. And then the other annoying and dumb thing, which I don't know if you can hear this or not, but because I switched the cases around, the cases were both different styles and had different fan mounts for different size fans. My case that had been for the server had 2 small fans in it. My desktop had 1 large fan. The large fan was a very quiet fan, actually, specifically purchased because it was going to be in my desktop, constantly on in my bedroom. I was like, yeah, I should get a quiet fan. I did not do that when I bought fans for my server because I was like, well, it's going to sit in a server closet with the door closed. Yeah, the fans can be loud. It doesn't matter. I'm not going to hear them. And now those fans are in my bedroom and they sound like jet engines. Okay, they're not actually that loud. I don't know if you can hear them in the background, but I can. And yeah, they're kind of annoying. So I will probably be investing in some new fans in the semi-near future, I guess. Probably when they go on sale or something. Because, you know, I'm a cheapskate like that. The YouTube monies I make just aren't enough for me to buy things when they're not on sale. So, I don't know what you can really do about that. Watch the ads before the video, I guess. Except, I don't think there's... Well, as of recording of this, there's no ads because I don't have enough views yet. But, yeah, that's kind of the state of things right now. So, I don't know what to tell you. I had mentioned I was going to try doing just some recording and then chopping with some editing, and I realize now that this is done recording, I literally could have done that because I recorded the whole clearing. Or I didn't record it, obviously I didn't record it. If I recorded it, it would be edited and it would be all new audio. But I cleared this whole area, took down all the trees, just finished doing the last of the dirt. I gotta take care of the stone there yet. And I did all of that just now. So I guess I could have recorded all of that and then edited it down shorter. But that's just so much work. And I'm lazy. And I got a zillion other things I'm doing. So maybe another day. When I'm doing something else. Besides brainless chopping of dirt. Digging of dirt, I guess. You don't technically chop dirt, you chop trees. And maybe you chop stones. I don't think you really chop stones. I don't know what you do to stones, honestly. Anyway, let's wrap this up. Thanks for watching, guys. I will catch you next time.